It is the Anthony Edwards Collegiate Decision presented by the Georgia Hoop Circle on SUV TV. Joe Hilsman of the Hoop Circle and SUV TV, joined by Daryl Libero and Matt Mahoney. And gentlemen, we are here awaiting moments from now. The collegiate decision of Anthony Edwards, one of the top basketball prospects. Some people have said the best amateur on the planet, Coach Libero.
I mean, he's super talented. As we all know, he can put the ball in the hole. He's physically gifted. He's a great kid, a relentless worker. I'm looking forward to him having a tremendous one-year career in college and a long year in the NBA.
Matt, what are some of the things that have impressed you about Anthony Edwards over the last couple of years you've seen him?
I think for a big transformation process, you think just 18 months ago, this kid was a sophomore and a kid at every sense of the word. And now he's gone through this whole process of reclassifying, being academically eligible, climbing some draft boards, climbing the recruiting rankings. And today is a day of celebration for him, his family, and his peers. And so I know there's a lot of built-up tension and pressure around this decision, but for him, I'm looking forward to talk to him afterwards to see if there's a sigh of relief that he's looking forward to something versus, always looking to try to deal with that pressure. I'm looking forward to kind of getting some of that pressure off him today.
I think it's also interesting that he's having it a week after mainly the big football national signing day, just to let you know how big basketball in Georgia has become. 26.7 points per game, 8.7 rebounds, 2.5 assists, and 2.1 steals. Currently in the GISA playoffs here at Holy Spirit Prep. So he gets to get this decision out the way and then focus on trying to win another state championship.
Everybody knows that when you have the best player in the state, maybe the best player in the country, you have a chance to win the state championship. That a little bit of a setback last week, losing in the region championship, but they've had battles with Heritage before, and I'm sure that he will have that game circled on his calendar when they come back and play again.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of those one step back, two steps forward. Maybe he needed that. Maybe the team needed that. The program needed that. But, yeah, big things going up as the defending state champion. They're going to do that again this year. And looking forward to this gym just being electric today and moving forward, that Holy Spirit group following them wherever they go throughout the playoffs.
We have set the tone for the Anthony Edwards Collegiate Decision presented by the Georgia Hoop Circle on SUV TV. We'll step out and take this break and return in just a moment.
Every time we open our doors, we change just a little bit. Every blade of grass, every rose petal, every pen location. But the one thing that doesn't change is our commitment to an exceptional golfing experience. Being prepared to give it our all 364 days a year is not just a credo. It's our soul.
Heels or flats? Heels. Around here, we're decision-making pros. But when she got injured last season, I almost made the wrong decision. I thought I could take her where I rehabbed my knee, but her coach told me, take her to Children's. No thanks. All that experience helped my daughter heal faster and come back stronger.
Now we just need to decide where I'll play in college.
Road trip.
The 360, he throws it down. He'll come off the double screen to the left. Oh, and wide open underneath. Sexton goes step back, fade away three. Colin Sexton.
In the lane by Tracy. Here's Williamson, makes his way around one tight. Now hustling in toward the lane and throws it down. That's what the crowd had been waiting on. A fantastic dunk coming in by Williamson.
Trent, off balance jumper. Nails it. Pierre to Gary Trent Jr. Oh my goodness. That's how you end the game, folks.
Welcome you back inside Holy Spirit Prep. We are on the campus of Holy Spirit Prep in Atlanta, Georgia. Joe Hilsman, Daryl Libero, and Matt Mahoney. We are awaiting the Anthony Edwards Collegiate Decision. Let's break down a little bit. There's 4 schools that are out there: Georgia, Duke, North Carolina, Florida State. I'll just throw a jump ball out there for you, pun intended. What are the options, or what does it look like? How would he affect either one of those programs? We'll start with you, Matt.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll start with the local product there in UGA, University of Georgia. Tom Crean, head coach. that's the most interesting dynamic, because he took that official visit all the way back in December, and it seems like Georgia has been number 2 throughout all the changes, throughout the reclassification, throughout the official visits to Kentucky, to cancel to Florida State. But it seems like Georgia's been that constant. It's right down the road here from Atlanta. It seems to be developing this relationship with Tom Crean. He seemed to clearly be selling his relationship and his coaching past experiences with Dwayne Wade, Victor Oladipo, and saying, hey, Anthony, you can fit that mold at UGA, despite the Bulldogs' lack of one and done in recent past. He could be that trailblazer for the Bulldogs moving forward if that's his choice today.
Well, you can never count out the local school. So many factors get involved in that. His small circle of people that have brought him this far will always be able to come down to the games, maybe come down to the dorms when things are not going well, because there's always going to be a rookie wall that you hit at some point. Then if you just look at their roster, they're bringing in 4-star Jaquan Walton from Carvalho. He's kind of like a hybrid forward. Then you have 4-star Tumani Kamara. They're losing Turtle Jackson, who's a point guard. They're losing Derek Obedi. Those are the most notable guys that they're losing. Returning, you have Rayshawn Hammonds and Nicholas Claxton, who are both sophomores, who are very talented players, but one's more of a 4, one's more of a 4-5. So they need a guard that can score from the perimeter and someone that can break down the defense and create offense for himself and his teammates. And I think that's something that could be very appealing to Anthony. I know he wants the ball in his hands. I know he can score. And they need that right now, as you can see what they've done in SEC play, losing 7 or 8 straight, 1-9 in the conference right now, and their lack of perimeter scoring has been the main issue. So I think that's something that he is really looking to possibly come in and take that burden off of those forwards.
I mean, that's all nice and dandy that it's a local school, but you've got Tobacco Road in the mix, both ends of it. If Duke and North Carolina programs known, rich in basketball tradition, heritage. I mean, I mean, what do you look like
count those guys
for Duke and North Carolina?
Well, with Duke and North Carolina, you just said it all about them. They bring in 5-star guys who are McDonald's All-Americans, as Anthony is this year, one-and-done players, and they're used to handling guys in those situations. But I think Anthony's a little different. He's a guy who stayed at Holy Spirit, which is a smaller school we talked about off air, might not even have 700 students in it. He stayed with Atlanta Express, which is his program that he came up through. He didn't move to the Nike circuit. He didn't go to a Montverde. He didn't go to an IMG. So I think he has a little bit of a different mentality. Maybe he thinks he's a guy that can come in and blaze his own trail, as he said earlier, and kind of change the program.
It's interesting you talk about Tobacco Road, because they almost go about it 2 different ways, whether it's Coach K or Roy Williams. Both of them got a ton of lottery picks, but North Carolina is the attrition, 2-3 years. Harrison Barnes was a 2-year guy that goes to a lottery pick, versus Duke, it's in and out. You got 8 months tops, right? Kind of like Kentucky, we'll get to in a little bit. And so the fact that Anthony hasn't taken his official visit to either Duke or North Carolina kind of says a lot about his thought process in going throughout this. And that's what I kind of hone on here, is when were his official visits in his timeline, and how does that affect your decision-making process today? So the fact that, is Duke and North Carolina out of the mix? No. But are they 4th and 5th? Yes. He could shock some people today by choosing one of them based on what we've seen kind of in the community and what he said out in the public.
And you never count those guys out.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, you're right. And Matt mentioned Kentucky. No, I'm sorry, Coach Cal. I know you're in the mix as well. But the interesting dynamic, Leonard Hamilton has had a lot of success at Florida State lately, especially coming into the Atlanta area. He's got Vasil, who's coming off and getting some minutes down there. How would Edwards fit in there at Florida State?
The other interesting part is MJ Walker is also
very
an
much
Express guy, an Atlanta guy who's playing very well right now. McDonald's All-American, had a lot of choices coming out, and a lot of people didn't think Florida State would be in that mix. And like you said, Leonard Hamilton, also assistant coach Charlton Young, who was at Georgia Tech before, has recruited the Atlanta area very well. It's only a 3-hour drive, so is it considered a local school to Anthony? And his family and friends can get down there. We don't know.
And they have beaches not far away either.
Which always helps. So it'll be interesting. A lot of people thought that they were the front runner coming in. They recruited him. They got in a little bit earlier than everybody else did, kind of before he really hit the major scene and everybody knew that he was an elite player. But canceling that visit late usually isn't a good sign, but you never know on commitment day. That's what makes this so exciting. I'm looking forward to it.
It is the Anthony Edwards collegiate decision. The gym behind us is beginning to bustle. It's getting close to that time. We'll step out and take this break right here. The Anthony Edwards collegiate decision, presented by the Georgia Hoop Circle on SUV TV.
What is it about some places? The places where we feel a sense of fellowship, where service is of the highest priority, whether to each other or to ourselves. A journey familiar like a warm bath for the soul. Along the way we may get lost, but we always seem to find a friendly hand reaching out, guiding us the way back there, where we owe it to our younger selves. Just to feel like we're getting a little bit better at us. This place will always be there for you. This place is sacred. Because this place is home.
The Anthony Edwards Collegiate Decision presented by the Georgia Hoop Circle on SUV TV. We're having some fun off the air. Matt is loaded over here, and I don't know what happened. He got a text. Who texted him from Kentucky?
I'm getting blown up over here.
With
man. The Big Blue Nation, they all over the place.
Well, Anthony Edwards is a thoroughbred.
Yep.
And there's bluegrass. There was a Instagram photo of the number 5 jersey.
Well noted.
Very much so. And there was no disrespect there for Kentucky. Is bluegrass in the future, or how would he fit in there? We know the success that Calipari has had recently.
You mentioned Florida State. They're the wild card in all this. The relationship's been strong almost since day one. No surprise if the Seminole hat gets put on today, so to speak. But Kentucky's that team that just checks all the boxes for him. Calipari, 19 lottery picks since he's been there in Lexington. You can go right down the board of guys that have reclassified, committed to Kentucky, and been lottery picks. And that's clearly the path that Anthony's trying to be on right now. And so it's not going to surprise anyone if he does pick Kentucky. But, man, the Florida State and Georgia dynamic and all of this is just absolutely fascinating.
He just walked by and dapped you up. What did he say? I didn't hear.
He whispered something in my ear.
What was it?
We'll find out at 8:30. Well, let me just touch on Kentucky. As a college coach recruiting, you never can count on Kentucky. It doesn't matter if they seem like they're on the outside looking in. It doesn't matter if they came in the last week, last 2 weeks. They're one of those programs where people just know and respect that if that's what you're trying to do, if your goal is to become a one and done, they are a destination place.
Coach LeBarry, you spent some time in the collegiate game, so let's look at it from the collegiate coach's prospect or point of view. Okay. What are the things that you see in Anthony Edwards that makes him the elite recruit? Because several recruiting services, he's a top 5, he's a 5-star in all of them. What do you see from the coach's seat?
Well, the first thing he has is he has NBA size. He's 6'5", 215, 220, so he looks the part when he walks in the gym. The next thing he can do is he can put the ball on the floor. For someone his size, he prefers to go left, but he can go either direction. He's physically strong at the rim. He likes to play through contact. He's explosive. He has a little bit of that wow factor. He has some swag to him. And you know that he can put up 30, 40, 52 points as we saw in the last game. He's a dog. He comes from a tough background, so he brings that onto the court with him. So if you're a guy who likes toughness and you like competitiveness, fan bases will fall in love with him from day one.
There's always a weakness where there's strengths. What weaknesses or what do you see the refinement could be going on to the next level?
And these are actually conversations that I've had with him. As talented as he is on the offensive end, and he's ready to play in the NBA right now on the offensive end, he has to get a lot better defensively. He loses sight of his man on the defensive end, especially off the ball. On the ball, he's okay because he's so gifted athletically with his long arms and his lateral movement. But off the ball, he gets lost. He hasn't really learned how to fight over ball screens and defend, and he doesn't rebound at the level someone of his athleticism should. And then the last thing is, just to be completely honest, and I love him to death, don't get me wrong, he has to learn to win at a high level in the high-level games, but I think he's very capable of doing that.
The one thing about being a coach is I can just continue to put you on the spot. So you've got your team in the locker room. What is your scouting report to defend Anthony Edwards?
To defend Anthony Edwards?
Attempt to defend.
Because he's got his A plan, right? He wants to catch and shoot. He can shoot off the one dribble. But, man, if you put a small on him, he's taking him to the rack all day.
No
he's got a plan B offensively, and it's really tough to do that in the opposite locker room.
Well, or do like Okoro did, make it hard defensively.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't stop him? You just hope to contain him? Or what's your scouting report?
I think you have to throw different looks at him.
Okay.
Hopefully you have someone that's his size or a little taller that can have some length and some athleticism that can move with him. But you also might want to mix in throwing a smaller guard on him if they're going to have him handling the ball and they're going to have him out front, which some people like to play him at the point guard position. Get up under him, turn him a little bit, get him frustrated. But the only issue is he's going to post you up. So hopefully you got to bring a double team quick. You got to keep him off the offensive glass. And my strategy would be make him shoot contested jump shots and live with whatever the results are.
Anthony Edwards collegiate decision presented by Georgia Hoop Circle on SUV TV. The gym continues to bustle behind us as we near the top of the hour and the decision. Matt, I'll come over to you. At any decision that's made, a lot will happen with the young man's life. It'll change based on this decision. The things that he's able to do on the basketball floor, no matter where he takes that, what do you think is the most special moment that he'll remember from today?
I think it's just the support of his friends and his family. One thing that's probably widely overlooked is when you reclassify, your inner circle stays the same. But that group of friends, I mean, he's taking different classes at different levels. He's taking online classes, and so you can kind of get lonely at the top, as they say. And so I think today it's an opportunity for him to kind of let it sink in, because all these people in the gym today, I think there's going to be more cameras here than people, that he can just have the platform to say thank you and appreciate it and have this congratulatory moment for him and his family. And I'm looking for that. Just relax. Just take a deep breath. It's over, man. You know where you're going. Finish out your high school prep career and then go take your game to a whole nother level. Whether it's Athens, Lexington, Durham, Tallahassee, wherever it is, he's going to have first-class treatment in terms of facilities, nutrition, even academics. I mean, we think he's one of the best prep players in the country. Imagine what he's going to be at somewhere like Duke, North Carolina, Kentucky, Georgia. I mean, the wealth of basketball knowledge at those places is going to catapult him to potentially a lottery pick. And I think this is just the beginning of what's been a tough maybe 12 to 14 months in this whole process to get to today.
The Anthony Edwards collegiate decision presented by the Georgia Hoop Circle on SUV TV. Yeah, I've raised my voice just a little bit as the gym continues to fill as we get near the top of the hour. One other thing I wanted to mention, guys, we've talked about what he can do offensively, defensively, where he may fit in. the reclassifying, you talked about it. 2019 in 2020 and came and reclassed to 2019. No matter which class he's been in, he's been top 5. What's the importance of the reclass?
The importance is he just gets 1 year closer to his ultimate goal. Because all it was going to do was slow the process down. A lot of people don't know he was originally in the 2019 class down to 20, so now he's just really back in his original class, even though he's the right age. So this is not really probably as crazy for him as it is for us, people from the outside looking in. But he's just getting one step closer to his ultimate goal. And like you said, he's a top 5 player regardless of class. He's played against the best players. He's been in the Steph Curry camp. He's been in the Nike Top 100 camp. He's as good as it gets, and he knows it. So it was no reason to waste time in high school another year. Time to get to college, really learn to prepare at a higher level and get ready for the NBA.
And that's what we're going to talk about on the other side of this break, the development and how we got here. It is the Anthony Edwards Collegiate Decision, presented by the Georgia Hoop Circle on SUV TV.
Heels or flats? Heels. Around here, we're decision-making pros. But when she got injured last season, I almost made the wrong decision. I thought I could take her where I rehabbed my knee, but her coach told me, take her to Children's. No thanks. All that experience helped my daughter heal faster and come back stronger.
Now we just need to decide where I'll play in college.
Road trip.
Every time we open our doors, we change just a little bit. Every blade of grass, every rose petal, every pin location. But the one thing that doesn't change is our commitment to an exceptional golfing experience. Being prepared to give it our all 364 days a year is not just a credo. It's our soul.
The Oaks course is a wonderful place to play golf. Maybe one day we will go and play with Anthony Edwards. Who knows? It is the Anthony Edwards Collegiate Decision presented by the Georgia Hoop Circle on SUV TV, with morning announcements going on in the background as well. Everything is popping right now. I'm going to try and give her a moment, megaphone-wise.
Reminds me back to elementary school, right? Getting the morning announcements before you sing the Pledge of Allegiance. I mean, we've already knocked it all out this morning. The only thing we're missing is like a chalkboard.
There's one somewhere around here, indeed.
A bunch of them, I'm sure.
Are we okay on audio? We're okay, so I'll just keep it right. We hear that. Hopefully you don't. Look, you talked about Edwards being at the Steph Curry camp. Those in the Southeast have kind of known about Anthony Edwards. I think his play, though, at the Steph camp, and I'm going to go with the Pangos out in L.A., really started garnering the national attention. Holy Spirit Prep kind of redid their scheduling a little bit, played a very heavy national schedule.
They did.
How important is it, not just for Edwards, but for any player, when you go to those type of events and camps and shine, for you to be put in this situation?
Well, the good thing about going to Pangos or going to NBA Top 100 or going to Steph
where he
Curry,
led them in scoring.
Exactly, and was MVP, is that you go and a different group of people see you. So now you have a different group of scouting services, people on the West Coast, maybe general fans on the West Coast, as well as the ESPN people, kind of get to know who you are and what you can do on a national level. And like you said, in the Southeast, he's been no secret to us. We call him Ant-Man down here, and everybody knows that when he comes in the gym, 30 is going on the board. But when he went out to Pangos and played against West Coast guys from the Midwest, and he did the same thing, it kind of opened everybody's eyes, and now everybody knew nationally, yes, he is one of the top 5 players in the country.
Yeah, absolutely. You think about it from a national stand base. It's not like he went out there and played a good game or a good – he was the MVP of 2 of the biggest prep tournaments in the entire country. So now, like you mentioned, the national boards are starting to move him up. Now he's got options. He's on the academic track to be in the NCAA. Do I go in the 2020 class? Do I come back to 2019? And at the end of the day, it's an easy decision to reclassify because in 2019, he'll be 19. He's draft eligible. Let's pull the trigger on that decision.
We always like to say, somebody go get me a bucket. Is he the person you draw it up to go get a bucket, Delaware?
He's as good as there is in the country because we talked about it earlier. He can do so many things. He can shoot the ball from 3. He can get to the mid-range, and then he can score in the post as well. And he can also get it off the offensive glass. And he's just so physically strong and tough and confident in himself. if I had one guy I want to put the ball in his hands, his name is Anthony Edwards.
Anthony Ant-Man Edwards, affectionately known as Ant-Man. Look, broke out last year, had a wonderful year. They hung the banner here within their gymnasium, 2018 GISA state champions. In the playoffs currently again. It's kind of unique to have an announcement like this right in front of the playoffs. And 2 weeks from now, we expect him to be playing for another state championship. The relief off of his back. But once this day is over, and then the playoffs are over, your focus immediately turns to wherever you made your decision.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's all sorts of things that go into it behind the scenes that he's going to have to deal with. But looking around at the publicity and the energy in this gym, it's going to be easy. It's just a logistical process to get to that point. He can play. He's got a good foundation around him, people influencing his life. And so he's just going to get to Athens, and it's going to be about taking that basketball or Lexington or Durham, wherever he's going, and taking that game to a whole nother level, because this isn't just a regular five-star recruit. He's a lottery pick. And I'll take this a step further, and I'll get blasted for it on Twitter. That's fine. Outside of the Atlanta Hawks, he may be the best player in the state of Georgia. Put in UGA.
I don't think you should get blasted on
Georgia
that.
I mean, if you get blasted,
all the high school kids on it, outside of being paid to play basketball, he may be the best player in the state of Georgia.
Well, he's a McDonald's All-American. That'll be played at State Farm Arena, so you'll get to see that as well against other talented players from around the country. I have no problem with that. I think he's the best amateur on the planet right now. With everything he's able to do, gifted athletically, and then the IQ is there, just so the development of his game moving forward, putting it on the floor, off the bounce, off the catch and shoot. And sometimes he goes about things so effortlessly. We've been watching a lot of B-roll action that we've had, but I specifically remember back Memorial Day weekend, he only had 2 points at the half. In a game when they were down, I think they were playing the Celtics or something, he wound up with 30. He had 28 in the second half, and not one time did you feel like he forced the situation. Now, making a play happen and forcing is two different things.
I agree.
He made things happen. Never forced it. You look up, his team's winning, he's got 30, and they're walking out the door, and it was like cool, calm, collected.
Well, I mean, he just makes it look so easy. Sometimes it looks like he didn't even break a sweat. Looks like he's playing pickup, at home when he's playing against the best players in the country. And I think you hit the nail on the head earlier. He wants to get this decision out the way so that he can move on, concentrate with his team, because anyone who's been through this or been around someone who's been through this can become a circus. And when you're a top player in the country, you add the reclass. He's in the city of Atlanta where we've had so many guys go one and done. There's just a lot more pressure around him. So to get this out the way, get those schools to stop calling them, stop coming to the gym. Now he can just concentrate and focus on academics and basketball, which is really all he cares about.
Well, before we go to break, you said a circus. Since we're in Atlanta, I think it's organized noise and organized confusion. The Anthony Edwards Collegiate Decision is coming up next right here on SUV TV, presented by the Georgia Hoop Circle.
Every time we open our doors, we change just a little bit. Every blade of grass, every rose petal, every pen location. But the one thing that doesn't change is our commitment to an exceptional golfing experience. Being prepared to give it our all 364 days a year is not just a credo. It's our soul.
We welcome you into the Anthony Edwards Collegiate Decision presented by the Georgia Hoop Circle on SUV TV. Joe Hilsman, Darryl LeBerry, and Matt Mahoney. We're here live at Holy Spirit in Atlanta, Georgia, moments away from Anthony Edwards Collegiate Decision, one of the top prospects, top 5 in all of the major recruiting services. He's right behind us. We've been here since 8:30. It is the top of the hour, so if you're just now joining us, we are glad that you are here. 26.7 points per game, 8.7 rebounds, 2.5 assists, 2.1 steals. Those are the numbers right now this season, and he's currently in the middle of a playoff run. The gym is actually bustling in here. Gentlemen, we're moments away. UGA, Duke, Kentucky, Florida State, all of them have a shot.
I would love to subscribe to the wild card theory. Florida State, Georgia, I love that storyline. Be your own trailblazer. Take that program to another level. There's no guarantees you're going to make the NCAA tournament next year, but in route to a lottery pick, what that would do for Tom Crean's program at UGA or Leonard Hamilton, they've been in the NCAA tournament. They've been to Sweet 16s. But if you had a guy like Anthony Edwards, you're talking about Final Fours and national championships.
It's going to be interesting. I'm excited. I feel like I'm about to commit. You can feel the energy in the building. This feels like a high-level college game or a high-level state game. I'm looking forward to it. But if I had to guess, I think he's going to stay home and play at University of Georgia.
I'm not in the prediction business. I don't know. You can't go wrong with any of those schools, but you know, I just think the state of Georgia is due. Biggest guy since maybe Jermaine Jones and before Dominique Wilkins, I think it's going to be Georgia. Let's turn it over to the live coverage right now. The Anthony Edwards Collegiate Decision.
Sitting next to me is the nation's #1 player in the country, Anthony Edwards, and he is ready to announce his college choice. Anthony, you've narrowed your finalists down to Georgia, Florida State, and Kentucky. How difficult was this process for you?
I mean, the process was pretty difficult. All the top coaches coming in and out of school every night, calling my coach's phone. I mean, it was difficult. Hard decision. Came to a fun school.
Well, the nation is waiting. Where will you be attending college basketball next season?
I'll be college basketball at the University of Georgia.
How much did that factor in, those two guys, knowing that they went and played for him?
I mean, they came in not highly rated, so they came out a really good player. Dwayne Wade has had a really good career, so great deal.
Describe the moment for me when you knew that Georgia was the place for you.
I went to a game. When I went to the unofficial on the game, I just felt it. Fans in the gym, everybody was showing love, so I just felt like I was home.
Obviously, that's only an hour and a half away from here. You're extremely close with your family, your friends. How much was a factor was that?
I mean, my sister just had my nephew. I mean, I want him to see me play, see me grow. I want to see him grow, so it was a big factor.
Obviously, you're known for your athleticism and your ability to score, but what do you think you can bring to that Georgia team next year?
Playmaking, getting everybody involved, just making the team better.
What's the prediction for next season?
National championship.
Congratulations.
The Anthony Edwards collegiate decision is just that. The University of Georgia lands Anthony Edwards. Now we can break it down and analyze it. Coach LeBerry, what does this do, Tom Crean, in his first year? You mentioned he's struggling, and now you pull in a top-5 recruit in Anthony Edwards from the state of Georgia, which has been, an issue at Georgia, keeping top talent in the state.
Well, the first thing it does is it gives you a sense of credibility. Now people know that you have arrived as a recruiter, and it gives you some respect nationally. On the court, it gives them what he said. It gives them a playmaker, a guy who can put the ball on the floor. He can score from the perimeter, but he can also make plays for his teammates, and he can do a lot of different things. And now you combine him with Rayshawn Hammonds, with Nicholas Claxton, two guys who are in the front court that are very good players. Now you have a team that will be, listed in the top half of the SEC.
he mentioned there right at the gate, he kind of molds his game after Dwayne Wade and Victor Oladipo, and that's how he sees himself playing for Coach Crean. And maybe get lost in the shuffle a little bit. Georgia's had a couple guys go to the NBA the last couple of years. Kadavius Caldwell-Pope's playing for the Lakers right now. He was a lottery pick too as well. So it wasn't that far-fetched to think, okay, Georgia's never had a lottery pick. Georgia's never had a guy reclassified. That hasn't been the case at all. And so the fact that we mentioned before, location, 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 he's going to drive right down the road. Family and friends going to be there to support him. And again, at 18 years old, you're going to take a Georgia program on your back en route to a lottery pick. The people around you are going to be very important to you.
It's a beautiful campus at Georgia, but
Thank you so much.
Anthony thanking the crowd. I mean, it's a beautiful campus, Georgia, Athens, and all of that. To me, it's the biggest get since Jermaine Jones. I mean, there was Landers, Nolley, and Ashton Hagans last year that did commit it. And before Jermaine Jones, I really think it was Dominique Wilkins. I think this is in that echelon.
It is, and a lot of people forget that Lewis Williams committed there.
Yes.
Obviously going to the NBA.
Yes.
But that was the highest-rated player that has committed there in the last 20 years. And Dominique Wilkins obviously had a huge impact. Jermaine Jones, a teammate of mine. I'm glad you gave him a shout-out.
That's right, man.
He was a big-time prospect for them as well and did great things in the program. But like you said, no one, even Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, he was there and he had a name, but he wasn't the same buzz as Anthony Edwards.
And you could tell KCP was an NBA player the way he played. Correct. Tompkins has had good success there. Trey Tompkins, Leslie, Jarvis Hayes, Jonas Hayes, they've played there. But on this echelon, Anthony moves the needle. And you mentioned, I think, about Oladipo and Dwayne Wade, and he mentioned that. So Crean's success of coaching successful players and leading them to the NBA weighed in that decision.
And it's interesting. I wonder who's had more pressure today. Is it Anthony Edwards or is it Tom Crean? Because Crean was hired at Georgia to do this. Bring Georgia recruits in-state, keep them there, and take, for lack of a better term, a basketball program that's been wavering right on above mediocrity, but nothing great. And so now you add a great player like Anthony Edwards, and this is what Tom Crean was hired to do at Georgia.
It is the Anthony Edwards collegiate decision. It is the University of Georgia. We're quick to take a quick break. We've got a lot of other special stuff and guests coming up next right here. It's the Anthony Edwards collegiate decision on SUV TV. The Anthony Edwards Collegiate Decision presented by the Georgia Hoop Circle. We're here with the man himself. And I got a little joke with you. In your USA blog, you let everybody in on it. Fred G. Sanford.
Yep.
The G stand for Georgia?
Yes, sir.
All right,
yes,
man. So you've had to talk about it. How do you feel right now to have this pressure off of you?
I mean, it feels great. I mean, it's nothing like it. I'm just glad that I'm a Bulldog. I can't wait to get there next year.
What made the decision final that you wanted to be in Athens?
I wanted to go somewhere for the next 4 years where I know I'm going to be developed the most. So I chose Tom Crean because he had Dwayne Wade and Victor Oladipo.
Anthony, my question for you is, how does a guy like Tom Crean and his experience at the University of Georgia sell you on playing that next year in basketball in Athens?
I mean, his player development, Dwayne Wade didn't come in as highly rated, but he's going out as one of the best shooting guards in the game. So it shows me that he prepared him for the next level. So I feel like that's what I need.
So give everybody an idea who hasn't gone through this process at the level that you have, how chaotic, how hectic it's been, and then ultimately, you know, what factors came down to be the most important on your decision-making process?
It's crazy, man. I advise everyone that haven't been through this process to just take time, think about it, talk to your family, pray, just stay level-headed. But what made me choose Georgia, I mean, like I said, my sister just had her son, which is my nephew, and I want to see him grow. I don't want to go too far from home just in case I have to stay 4 years. So I want to be close to my family.
Just in case you have to stay 4 years?
Yes, sir.
We love the humility, but come on, man, let's be serious.
Well, listen, Ant, do you understand the change in now the culture at Georgia just with your commitment in the basketball program?
Yeah, I wanted to put my state back on the map. I want to put my state school back on the map. I mean, Tom Crean's a great dude. Me and Coach Amir is like big brother, little brother, so it's a lot of love there.
Okay, so that's out of the way. What's the one thing that you want to make sure that you improve on by the time you step onto the floor in Athens?
Just in shape, getting in better shape, being able to play both sides of the court same way.
Anthony Edwards, the Anthony Edwards Collegiate Decision is the University of Georgia. Matt, Darryl, you guys got anything else?
You're walking around this gym. As soon as you walked in about 45 minutes ago, there's a smile on your face. There's a smile on your face now.
Right.
There's a lot of pressure that goes around this decision. But how much of there is a relief and this congratulatory moment for you and your family? What do you get to focus on now going forward? How do you describe this day for you?
It's a big relief that I know where I'm going. I don't have nothing else to worry about. I just go to the gym and work now.
I just want to congratulate you on this, on this moment. This is the beginning of a long process. I know that you have a lot of basketball ahead of you. Happy for you, and just want to wish you all the success in the world.
Thank you so much.
Anthony, congratulations, brother.
Thank you so much.
Stay focused, man.
Yes, sir.
We'll see you down the road.
Thank you.
Anthony Edwards
Congratulations,
going to the University of Georgia.
Yeah,
More coming up next in just a moment.
Yeah.
The Anthony Edwards Collegiate Decision presented by the Georgia Hoop Circle on SUV TV. Well, if you don't know by now, it is the University of Georgia, so we had to do what we do here at SUV TV. My man, D.A. Lane.
No question.
Listen, you were just honored at Georgia a couple of weeks ago, cracked threes there. You've seen the Georgia basketball program at a height.
No question.
What does this do, bringing in Anthony Edwards? And you've known him a long time, but what does this do for Georgia basketball, University of Georgia basketball?
I mean, this is a game changer for us. You know, this is really what what we're passionate about, what we love in Athens, and what we love around the state of Georgia. I mean, just to keep one of our top, if not the top kid in the country at home, and not only at home, but in Athens. What I love and what I bleed and what our fans are passionate about and what we've been waiting on. This is a game changer. This is what Georgia basketball is about, and we're going to embrace it, and we're going to show Anthony a lot of love, and we're going to make sure we take him to the next level.
Georgia's known for the football, we know, but Jarvis Hayes, Jonas, Travis Leslie, Trey Tompkins, KCP, Jermaine, Dominique, yourself. Can basketball thrive there, and it being a game changer, and is this probably the tip of the iceberg?
No, the basketball can thrive always. When I was there, I was just telling Ant, we went 10-20 one year, we went 3-10 one year. The next year, we went 16-14, the only team in NCAA history to get in the dance with 16 wins. Won 9 games in the SEC, unheard of. But the most important thing, the fans was passionate. We was camping out. We had folks camping out before the game. That's what we need to get back to. And that's what I talked to Coach Crean about and the coaching staff. I want to see them camping out. And I think with a guy like Anthony Edwards, we're back to camping out.
Now, I've known you for a long time, D.A. We had a lot of battles in AAU. We had some battles in college as well. And if I've known, everybody who knows you knows that you're a Georgia fan, true and true. I've been down to a couple games recently, got to see you get honored. And I still think the fan base has been pretty excited, but they're looking for someone to take them to the next level. Is Anthony Edwards that guy?
Anthony Edwards is the guy. No doubt about it, no question. I've been watching him for years. I mean, just when the first time I've seen him, first time I've seen a guy that can do everything. You know, when you go in the gym and you're looking at a top player, you're looking for a weakness, couldn't find one. That was a breath of fresh air. Then after you get past that, you look at, is it possible for us? Then you go past that and say, after the second year, you say, maybe it's possible. Then Crean comes in with Oladipo and Wade and a great coaching staff, and you say, we got a great chance at this point. And I'm just thankful and blessed to even get a great talent like this. And like I said, we're going to do whatever we can do to keep him happy and keep the Bulldog Nation going strong.
Last 10 years for UGA, they've been in the NCAA tournament twice. They do have a lottery pick in Caldwell Pope. What does this do for expectations in Athens?
I think the expectations go to the roof. I mean, we're the #1 kid in the country. I mean, arguably, I think we just got to, stay focused, continue to recruit hard, continue to nurture the guys that we got and keep the Claxtons and all those guys around and keep them working hard and add Anthony Edwards to the mix. It's just the sky's the limits for the Bulldog Nation.
A little excitement or a lot of excitement?
Oh, it's exciting. I'm the happiest man in the world. The happiest man in the world.
Joined by D.A. Lane, who former UGA alum, three-point shooter. I think he just hit another one. Did you hit one before
from deep. As soon as I walked in the building, baby.
Range begins.
There you go. There you go.
That is true. Buckets and bottoms. But D.A., you've seen a lot of basketball here in the state of Georgia. You mentioned keeping a top prospect here. You've got an event coming up. What do you think the state of Georgia basketball at the prep level is right now?
I think the state of Georgia is stronger than ever. Like when me and Daryl was coming up, we had great players, the Deion Glovers, the Jermaine Jones, all those type players. But at this point, just a collective group of guys. I mean, with our In the Lane All-Star All-American game coming up, it's a citywide, statewide game that's flourishing. When I look at my roster and look at the game, you can match it up to any game across the country. And that's an ode to the Georgia fan base. That's an ode to all the trainers, all the coaches, everybody, you guys, everybody's a part of helping our kids grow.
I got the UGA chant going on in the back, man.
I've been this for a while. The rest of the day, they're going to cancel classes.
Holy Spirit might have to get rid of this green.
No question about it. No question
about it. That's going to happen. Hey, D.A., thanks for joining us.
Oh, it's always a pleasure. Oh, my God. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
D.A. Lane, former University of Georgia three-point bomber here on the Collegiate Decision presented by the Georgia Hoop Circle on SUV TV. It has been a fun, packed 1 hour, 5 minutes left before we get out of here. Final thoughts, guys?
I was just thinking, when I hear Anthony Edwards say national championship is where the bar is.
Yes.
Tom Crean went from being excited and the happiest guy in the world to sweating and shivering. Because what he realized was now that you have the players that everybody says are good enough, you have to find a way to get the team to win at a high level.
Well, Matt alluded to this, like this is what Cream was able to come in there. It was hired to be able to come in there and do. He's still feeling that way?
Not right now. I'm telling you, as a coach, you want to have the best players possible, but you know with that comes the responsibility of winning at a high level.
Mm-hmm.
And when they're paying you the amount of money that they're paying you, and you have a fan base that is watching the football team flourish and thrive, even maybe not winning national championships, but in the Final Four, the basketball team is expecting the same thing when you have an Anthony Edwards step on campus. And as happy as you can be, you can also know in the back of your mind that I got to get this done.
Well, Matt, with a lot of things that have gone on with Georgia, we talked about Elias King, Ashton Hagans, Landers Nolly, all of those committed, another coaching change. Tough losing streak right now, losing out on some other commitments, top known assistant going to another school. It's been a lot of things that, for lack of a better word, have not been things you want to talk about if you're a University of Georgia basketball fan. This is.
Absolutely. And I think if I can try my best to put things in perspective, you played basketball at a high level, and not that there's been a lack of talent in basketball over the last number of years, but now it's Georgia high school or Georgia prep basketball that's taking a huge step in the national scale. SUTV, Joel, you guys at Georgia Hoop Circle have a lot to do with the promotion of these young men and their basketball careers. And so for us and me to have the opportunity to be here, let's put it straightforward. Witness history over here. The #1 recruit in the nation is staying in state at UGA, whether that's their facilities or Tom Crean, whatever the circumstances are, we're a part of that history here today, and that's absolutely remarkable. I think that gap between Georgia being a football state and now a basketball state, it's getting right up there, almost neck and neck, when the #1 person in the country stays home in Georgia.
That's a big statement.
Yeah, that's a mouthful.
Woo. Because I'm from Georgia and I'm a basketball guy through and through.
Exactly.
But boy, they love their football around here.
Exactly.
But you made some very valid points. We did have the #1 player in the nation stay here. Now he just has to go there, take this program to the next level, and maybe we can close that gap to the level that you're saying we can.
Because we were asking whether it was Florida State or Georgia, that trailblazer, because this is a lottery pick going to UGA. There haven't been a lot of those, and so who's next? You know, we're talking about 2019, 2020, 21 recruiting class. This is a beginning. This is a huge step.
Yeah, it is. You got Auburn right down the road. They've came into Georgia, done good. Florida State right down the road. They've came into Georgia, did very good. College of Charleston right over. They've came over to Georgia, done very good. So getting someone like this to stay home at a basketball school, at a football school, basically, is really big. I think, Athens is in good shape. Enjoy Anthony Edwards. Enjoy. If you don't know anything about it, enjoy it because he will. Stegman, what, 10,500 something? Yeah, there won't be an empty seat next. There will not. If there's an empty seat next season in Athens, something's wrong.
What about the humility saying that if he had to stay 4 years? I love to hear that. Even though I don't believe it for one second, I love to hear it.
I just couldn't believe you went there.
Well, let's take it for what it's worth, right? What if he gets there, he's having a time in his life, and he wants to stay? I know there's a lot of money on the table potentially a year from now, but
it don't matter how much fun he's having there.
Sometimes a business decision has to be made.
No question about it.
That's what it is. All right, we're going to wrap up our coverage of the Anthony Edwards collegiate decision. We're glad that you've been with us wherever you've been, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Matt Mahoney, Darryl LeBaron, I'm Joel Hilsman. Anthony Edwards going to the University of Georgia, and you saw it right here on SUV TV.